Cold rain poured down as security escorted me across the soaked parking lot like a convicted criminal. Through the glass walls of the break room, I could see my former colleagues raising crystal glasses in a cheerful celebration. My former manager raised his glass in a mock toast, mouthing words that mocked my 3 years of sacrifice. Under my arm sat a wet cardboard box containing my remaining personal belongings. For over 1,000 days, I gave every waking hour to developing a revolutionary urban movement network. I solved complex traffic flow equations while management slowly eliminated my entire engineering support team. My reward for creating an invisible architecture that kept 2 million citizens moving was a cold termination meeting. A sliding empty box across a glass desk ended my entire career in less than 5 quiet minutes. Management brought in a new specialist named Chloe who possessed flawless credentials and zero real-world experience. She constantly questioned my unique algorithmic methods during meetings, advocating for standardized corporate frameworks that could never handle chaotic municipal reality. Management swallowed her slick presentations and decided my creative approach was far too unconventional. They quietly groomed her to replace me while collecting every detail of my work. The guard who used to greet me with a warm smile every morning refused to look me in the eye. He mumbled a quick apology about corporate policy as I tossed my soggy box into the passenger seat. I sat in my running vehicle, watching their champagne toast continue through rain-streaked windows. Something vital inside my spirit crumpled, leaving me completely hollow as I drove into the storm. My small apartment felt like a tomb when I finally returned home that quiet evening. I had sacrificed my social life, neglected personal relationships, and abandoned hobbies just to build that system. Without my work, I was nothing more than a ghost wandering through silent rooms. For 2 full days, my phone remained completely silent while my former employers celebrated their misguided personnel decision. On the 3rd morning, my phone began vibrating continuously on the wooden coffee table. The caller identification displayed the name of my replacement over a dozen frantic times before noon. By midnight, 19 missed calls registered on the screen without a single left voicemail message. I knew the system was beginning to collapse under the weight of real-world unpredictability that her rigid formulas could never handle. The system was not merely code and standard logic built on textbooks. It was a reflection of how my mind perceived hidden urban patterns, atmospheric changes, and human behavior. My unique intuition was woven into thousands of micro-adjustments that no instruction manual could ever explain. I slept soundly for the first time in months, knowing their arrogant assumptions were about to face undeniable reality. The next morning brought nearly 30 missed calls before a former junior developer named Maya finally reached me. Her voice trembled as she explained that the entire northern grid had completely locked up during peak rush hour. Emergency vehicles were trapped, forcing officials to dispatch rescue helicopters for critical situations. She begged for my assistance, stating that management was losing control while municipal leaders threatened massive legal action. An hour later, my former manager stood on my doorstep with a disheveled suit and bloodshot eyes. The arrogant demeanor he displayed during my dismissal had vanished into sheer panic. He offered to triple my previous salary if I agreed to sign a consulting contract and fix the system. I looked him dead in the eye and refused, reminding him of how he humiliated me during my final departure. He threatened to ruin my reputation across the entire industry, but his empty words failed to move me. After he left, I walked through the downtown district and witnessed total gridlock firsthand. Frustrated drivers blared horns while pedestrians waited endlessly at broken signals. Real citizens were suffering because of corporate hubris, and that harsh reality weighed heavily on my conscience as news crews reported on the crisis. A discreet message summoned me to a quiet downtown diner the following morning. Mayor Harrison sat at a corner table, looking exhausted from managing a paralyzed municipality. She acknowledged how horribly my former employer had treated me, but pleaded for the welfare of 2 million residents. She offered to hire me directly as a lead municipal consultant, completely bypassing the corporate entity that had stolen my labor. I agreed to the proposal on the strict condition that I retained full creative control and public recognition. Furthermore, municipal legal counsel would challenge the corporate license based on their complete failure to provide functional infrastructure. Later that evening, my replacement called me in tears, admitting that her standard parameters had failed. I instructed her to attend the upcoming emergency board meeting without any corporate preparation or digital devices. The following morning, I dressed in a sharp grey suit and walked into executive headquarters with unwavering confidence. Through glass conference walls, I watched my former manager project false charts blaming my original code for the collapse. Suddenly, my replacement stood up and shocked the room by confessing the complete truth. She admitted that my adaptive architecture was brilliant and that her conventional methods were entirely responsible for the failure. The board chairman summoned me into the room just as my former manager attempted to regain control. Before he could bluster, Mayor Harrison entered with her legal team and officially declared a material breach of contract. She announced that the city was engaging my services directly and revoking corporate oversight. I informed the stunned board members that I was hiring away their remaining talented engineers to join my new municipal division. Within 48 hours, my restored system resumed operation and brought order back to the chaotic streets. Emergency response times dropped back to record lows as traffic flowed seamlessly once again. Mayor Harrison held a major press conference, praising my innovative architectural framework before news cameras. Offers from major urban centers flooded my inbox, validating my years of silent dedication while establishing my reputation nationwide. 1 month later, I walked past my former corporate office building on my way to City Hall. Through the ground floor windows, I observed staff members packing equipment into cardboard boxes after losing their primary municipal contract. My former manager stood near the exit looking completely defeated as our eyes locked through the glass pane. I offered a simple head nod before continuing down the street toward my new office. True vindication is not about destroying those who attempted to minimize your value or steal your hard work. It is about building something far greater from the wreckage of past betrayal. When you honor your unique talents and stand firm in your worth, no corporate manipulation can ever diminish your brilliance. Success gained through integrity will always outshine the temporary triumphs of arrogant deception.